So welcome to the first HES Analyzer tutorial. So for the first tutorial, what I propose to you is to give you a short overview of the user interface. So first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to just generate a regular screen. So for the moment, let's work with just univariate screening. So what does it mean? It means that at this stage, we will generate synthetic data that are quite similar to what we can find in the screen, in the screening context. So here what you got on top of this window is a number of plate and the plate design by itself. So let's keep it this way. So this is a regular 384 well plate, and we are working with a screening that contains plate. At this point we will also include two different controls, so one positive control that will be located on the column number 2 and one negative control that will be located on column number 1. The value of those readouts will have a mean value of about 2000 with a standard deviation of 100, and for the negative control it will be the opposite. We'll have a really low value with a mean of 200 and we will still have a standard deviation of 100. At this point, if you want, you will be also able to add some kind of artificial effect. The purpose of this is to test your algorithm. Let's keep it in a simple way for the moment. So let's press generate. What you can see directly here is in the center of the application. You can see the plate by itself and with the colors that are related to the value of the readout. In this case, because we generate just univariate screening, what we got is only one descriptor. Okay, so if you want to see the plate design by itself, what you can do is just click on display classes, or you can also press C to switch between classes to value. What you can see also directly is when you move the mouse over a well, what's happening is you can see the position, age 15 in this case, the name that has been associated to this well, so here we just put it like by default compound, and the value of the descriptor for this well. So here we get only one descriptor with the name descriptor, and the class here, class of this well is class number 2. So let's move to the class display. So we can see that with such a color, this is class number 2. If you move to this control, we can see that this is a positive control, and so it has class number 0. And here for negative control, you have class number 1. So let's describe a little bit more precisely the user interface now. Let's move back to this. What you can see here is a lookup table that give you the range of the value for this specific plate. Here, and this is one of the most important also control of this software, you can have access to all the different plates that has been generated for this screening. So you can move to plate number 2 or to plate number 7. And here also you can move to the previous plate, so 6, 5, or you can move forward. You can also, if you need this, you can also zoom in or zoom out, so you can reduce the size of the display or increase the size of the display. Let's keep it this way. One important thing also at this stage is, if you are interested, you can have a 3D representation of this plate. So you just right click on it and you have access to a menu where you can turn on the 3D visualization. So once you click on this, a new window is appearing, and this window represents exactly the same plate but in 3D. So you can move this plate, you can zoom in or zoom out using the mouse, and you can also rotate by pressing the Control key plus moving the mouse, or Shift by pressing Shift and moving the mouse also. When you move in, what you can do also is right click, and it gives you information about the well you are looking at. So it's telling you that you are working with plate number 7 and with a well that is located at this position. Okay, so let's turn off this window by just clicking on turning off visualization. So basically what you have in this user interface is, so as I said, the plate, the current plate, the lookup table, and here a description of your screening. You have a number of different menus that will be useful for the next part. And above what you have is also, you have access to other information or process that we will describe on the next tutorial. What else? When you look at this, you can have also information about this current well. So let's click on it and let's see what we got. Here, because we are working with scalar value, we have only one value per well. So this is what we can see here, is just the value related to this well at this position. You can have also a description that can contain much more information. We'll see this later. And here what you have is name. You can have also information, concentration if you are working, let's say, with sRNA or with a compound, and locus ID if you are working with sRNA screening. That can give you the opportunity to create a link to a gene database. You can change and add information if you want, just like information for this well, and after clicking on the update and close, everything will be saved. Okay, so let's close this window now. What is really important is you can change also the design of your plate for further analysis. So let's move to this. So there's many different ways to change the classes that are associated to each well. The first thing that you have to do is to select the class you want to associate your well to. What is important is the first one, which is called unselected, just means that this well or those well will not be taken into account for further analysis. So let's make a test. So just click between well and just move your mouse, and what you can see is you are creating a kind of square, and when you release the mouse, what's happening, you can see that those well has been put it in kind of transparent color, so it means that they will not be available. What is really important at this stage is to understand that in this mode what you are doing is applied to every plate of this screen. So it means that if I move to plate number 9 or 8, you have the same design. If you want to make this operation perform only on this plate, what you have to do is to turn off apply to all plate. So let's try, and you can see that at this level the cursor is changing just to remind you that you are working only on this single plate. So let's put those well into this mode, so we can see that those well has been removed. But now if I move to another plate, what you can see, it's not true anymore. Only plate number 8 has been done like that. Something that is much more, I would say, radical at this stage is you can apply to all the well selected classes. So you have two different buttons at this stage. You can press global button, so it means that all the well of the entire screen, because you have selected apply to all plate, will be moved into class number 2. It means this color. If you press this button, it means that all the well that are selected, means except those one, will be turned into this color. Okay, so let's apply this to all the plate of the screening and to all the well without taking into account the fact that the well are selected or not. You just press this button and you can see that all the color has been turned into column number 2. So let's take another one, positive, and let's put it in green, and let's put it in red, and just let's take a look at the full screening by itself. So what you do is you just click on visualization and move into full screening view. this is what's happening. So you can see here that you have display of all your plate. So in this case, as we designed the screening, we have 10 plate, starting from plate number 0 to plate number 9. If you double click on one plate at this stage, what will happen is you will move directly to the plate. You can take a look at the plate design by clicking on display classes only. So here you can see what's happening. You can also zoom in or zoom out. So let's move to this and just display the value of the entire screening. And let's take a look. If I double click on it, I move to plate number 9, and you can see this here. We move. If I click here, we move to plate number 0. Something that is really important also when you're working with the screening is this checkbox, global normalization. What does it mean? It just means that when you click on it, the lookup table that is applied to every plate is not related to each plate by itself, but to the entire screening. So give you perhaps a better understanding if you have some effects that are occurring, systematic artifacts that are occurring within your screen. Okay, so I would say that's it for this first tutorial. For the next tutorial, I will explain you a little bit more precisely how to generate screening, artificial screening that can be useful for understanding the effect of systematic error.